Hello, what's going on YouTube? This is James Honey here, and I'm bringing you guys a deck profile today. Just an updated World Chalice video. I'm gonna bring you another one after the Fairy Structure deck and Extreme Forces comes out, because that's when we get even more support and all that good stuff. So, you know, I've been testing out the new build, you know, the going second build used to, you know, break boards and all that stuff off to go second, and it's been working out really good, especially when it comes to locals. Unfortunately, I haven't been going to any regionals, let alone I don't think there is any regionals at this time of year, but, you know, it's one of, I'm seeing nice amounts of success in the competitive stage, and that is because I am opting to go second, and I'm playing it a little bit differently than most. You know, the combos are still kind of somewhat the same, but you know, when you let your opponent go first and dump their whole hand on the board and you break the board, you pretty much win. They really don't have too much recovery afterwards. Some can still recover, but not all that much. So we're gonna go and get started. We're gonna have our Legacy, still the best card in the deck. You really can't play the deck without it. I mean, you can even have the Venus, but if you don't have the Legacies, then, you know, you're not looking too hot. You really aren't. Then we got our 3 Lees. Second best card in the deck, of course, to get to the best card of the deck. You know, it's got some utility. It's fairy. You can transmod it. You know, all that good stuff. 2 Guard Dragon. I was playing this at 1 for a little bit, but there has been a lot of times where I've smacked into a lot of hand traps, and to where I would need to banish Legacy to add for Legacy on my second turn, and try to pull off a second combo, pull off a second Legacy effect, and a lot of times I only have 1 target in the deck, which has really lost me a lot of advantage. So I bumped it back to 2 for that reason. We're gonna have 2 back in. I don't play Chosen because I'm not playing E-Tele. I'm not looking to fill up more main deck space for it. So, you know, there's that. Best extender in the deck, of course, you got the Venuses, because, you know, it's fucking Venus. It gets you. It's a 1-card Skull Eat for 4. I mean, you play your Venus and you get your 3 Shine Balls, and you make Link Spider, you make Mduck, and you make Skull Eat. You know, will be Chain Link 1, Mduck, Chain Link 2. Your Skull Eat still isn't hit by Ash, so. Like, once that and Summon Sorceress hits the scene, that's really it. When Summon Sorceress hits the scene, you have so many ways to play around all the hand traps. Venus is going to be like a super powerhouse at that point. So, you know, just wait, guys. Just wait. You know, with more links coming out, the decks are going to get stronger, really. With every link and every little bit of little tiny main decks / extra deck support, it's filling all those little gaps this deck has been shown. You know, the deck is damn good, but, you know, again, there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes in the deck that need to be filled, and with more and more links coming out, you know, those holes are slowly being filled, and that's what people don't realize. So if you stick with the deck enough, you might just see it become tier 1. 2 Exodius, because I want to play 3, but space, and really, if once you make your board, you really don't even need it. The only reason I still play them is to play through Max C, really, and just deck my opponent out, because nobody's really main decking Joan Locks anymore. I don't know why. I mean, except Trickstars. I mean, everybody used to main deck 3 of them, now they're siding them, so it's weird. Christia, because you still want to auto win, you still want to just make your opponent not to play the game. And then we're gonna have our 3 Heralds, because you absolutely need to play this card because hand traps are a thing. You know, Ash Blossom isn't really too strong against the deck, simply because there's so many ways to cover your important stuff by the chain links. But sometimes you don't really have that option, and so a well-timed Ash Blossom on your Legacy can really hurt, especially if it's like if they hit your transmod. You know, just play Herald and negate the Ash and you'll be fine. So going second cards, we got Gameciel, Raiden, and Thunder King. I chose these three because one, Walking Solemn Judgment. This produces a token and can pull off some OTKs. And this one just debarriers your entire opponent's side of the board. You know, once it resolves, your opponent can't activate anything for the rest of their turn, which basically lets you win the game. I'd had a fourth kaiju, which was a Dogoran, but I decided Maxi was just a better going second card. Like, I generally don't like to play hand traps, except for the Heralds, because if you draw them a turn late, like after they already went off, they're kind of dead. But you know, at least if you draw like kaijus and evenly matched or live. We got Lazuli because I know a lot of people don't like this, but with Herald of Orange Light, this actually becomes super live, like almost all the time. Like you have no idea how many times I have played Brilliant Fusion and they attempt to Ash and I reveal Herald and pitch a Shine Ball to the graveyard, dump Lazuli and just get it back. You know, after you negate, if you negate a well-timed hand trap with Herald of Orange Light, you pretty much win. That's pretty much it. Really, the only thing you have to worry about is Gamma. You know, but of course Herald takes care of that. And Obsidian, of course, because if you draw it, you pitch it, and you get a plus off of it. You know, you actually get something back. So there's that. We got Lily Bell for tech choices. It's also a fairy target for Herald, and it's level 2. And you can special it if you search it, or draw it, or whatever. So it starts plays. You know, I'll get to why I'm playing this in a second, but let's on to the spells. I got my ultis finally. I got all my ulti Brilliant Fusions. I'm looking to get my super Shine Balls. You know, I was hesitant on getting them super because I didn't want to necessarily draw into them. You know, I'd rather draw into other cards, but I just figured, you know, I'm just gonna get the deck max rarity and just say screw it. So, you know, Brilliant Fusion is way too good to play, or not to play less than 3, unless you're playing a Predaplant engine, which is even more bricky and even more susceptible to hand traps. You got your 2 Transmod. I'm planning to play Downbeat when Extreme Force comes out because EBE is going to be released by then, come the Fairy Structure deck. So after you go off with your Venuses, your Shine Balls, and your Lees, you downbeat into your EBEs, you link, and you search 2 fairies for free. You know, you search your hand traps, you search your Herald. You know, what more can you ask for? Then we got 3 Terraforming for, because consistency, because I'm playing 2 field spells. I'm playing a Waterfront, of course, because of Kaijus. And I want to just win the game and drop Gameciel in defense and just win. Now, you know, funny story is, there's still a lot of bad players, like, not too much, but, funny story, literally just yesterday, I literally start my turn by activating Waterfront, and I summon a Shine Ball from the hand, and go into my Imduck, and I use my extra normal. You know, I'm already having a counter because I used, I linked with the Shine Ball, and then I normal summon Lee to search, and he drops the Ash, and I'm like, you know, literally the first card to play was Waterfront. You would think the first card you would negate, you would think the card to negate would be the card to search the Walking Solemn Judgment, but no, he just decides to just negate the Lee, and I even told him, hey, that's the biggest mistake you could have made. That's like, you know, now you just lose the game, because I just linked the Lee and the Imduck and the ROM, and I used Imduck to special Guard Dragon, and by linking Lee and Imduck, gave it 3 counters. I searched Gameciel and I pitched it to the grave to add Lee back, sacked the Guard Dragon and put Gameciel right there in defense, and literally watch as I just basically made it to where he couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! He played a card and that added the 5th counter. I'm like, sure, and he played 2 cards and I negated them, and he scooped because you just negated the wrong card. And we got a copy of Light Stage. The reason why I'm playing Light Stage and Lilybell is because they're really good. It's a really good starter engine. It's literally only 2 cards. It serves a lot of good purpose. One, if you open Terraforming and you get your Light Stage and you activate it, a lot of people are already going to assume you're playing Trickstar, so any potential hand traps are gonna might just get used. I mean, it's either Light Sage or Candida that really gets ashed most of the time. And so, if you start your turn off with Terraforming, and you get your Light Sage and you activate it and they ash you thinking you're playing Trick Stars, and then you start going off with your main engine, you know, you're in the clear. So it baits out a lot of good hand traps, especially if you're going second and there's a back row and you try to use Light Stage to lock it down. You'll either force their back row active so you have no surprises, or they end up activating a Ghost Ogre from their hand, just using even more hand traps. Not only that, but you know, it gives you access to Lily Bell, which is a level 2 fairy, which you can transmod into Venus if you don't have it. And all in all, it's really just a really good starter card without committing your normal summon, which is actually really good. There's a lot of utility with the Light Stage Lily Bell combo. I mean, and it gets around a lot of hand traps because they get used. A lot of hand traps get 8 on it if those are the first few cards you're playing because they think you're playing Trick Stars. So, I like it. I really do. And again, it just stacks a monster on board without eating your normal summon. We're going to have a Slumber because Kaiju's, more board breaking presence, 1 Foolish Burial. Of course, it's staple in every World Chalice deck. And of course, more Winmore going second cards, 3 evenly matched because I'm looking to just win the die roll and go second, but if my opponent wins the die roll, it doesn't matter because they're gonna try and go first anyway, so I don't care. And really, I'm not even if I open Herald, I wouldn't use it on my opponent's turn unless I had like Lee in hand or something, but you know, I'd really only use the Herald when it's my turn and when I need to make a play when it comes to encountering all the disruption. I want to be sure every possible threat is on the board, because I can easily Herald and negate the wrong card. This is the same problem with hand traps. You can sit there and hit the wrong card and your opponent has like 3 more cards in hand and actually have a follow-up play and you're screwed. So that's exactly why I don't believe in hand traps over Kaiju's and evenly matched. We got our Link Spider and our 3 M-Ducks for Link 1s because standard, you kind of need to play them. We got our Proxy Dragon because it's generic, and our Binary Sisters. I was playing 2 Proxy Dragon, but a lot of times I have actually come to the, I've actually entered a lot of situations where I actually really need to pump up a monster, and I've already used my, or I can't go into boar load, or some weird situation to where, if my Firewall or Trigate just had a few more attack points to get over a monster, you know, that'd be the game. And so I'm choosing Binary Sorceress for that same reason. We got 2 Ibs. I was playing 3, but again, Binary Sorceress is pretty good and it's kind of needed. Aurum, you only need 1. You really only need 1. If you need to go into the second one, then there's a problem. 1 Ningirsu because that's all you need. You can use this effect 2 to 3 times, and that's cool. We got our Gaia Saber because we need a generic Link 3 that we can use tokens with, make, you know, contribute to a Choline Trigate, because I don't just want to depend on a Link Spider only for them to summon and crash. So, because I'm not playing World Legacy's hard. So, there's that. And then we got our Trigate because win more card. It banishes a card on the field if you're going second. It's good. 2 Firewall. I got a second one a while ago. I have actually a 3rd one now, and I think I might be getting a 4th one in the mail. I don't know. I think I bought like an extra one. I'm not sure, but really all you need is 2. Like, you only need 1, really. You really only need 1 Firewall, but you know, 2 is just win more. I'm not sure what I would take out for Scoldy. Scoldy's definitely coming in here. It's definitely needed in the deck to fix funky hands. And, you know, I don't have Gopher in the deck because, again, don't necessarily have too much space for it, and it's not really all that important. I mean, it's a good extender, but, you know, once Scoldy hits the scene, yeah, I'll work it right back into the deck because Scoldy's too fucking good. And we got our Borreload because Borreload is just freaking Borreload. And you don't have to worry about True Dracos anymore. side deck we got. We still have our 2 Time Maidens and our one, instead of Zephion, we have Medion now. Because back row is not really that much of an issue. And Sleeper can't really do anything to a Medion because it can't be destroyed. So anything that I need to struggle with, I can just play this and just, you know, clear the monsters, make plays, you know, whatever. And, you know, again, it's a Maiden is just another starter card that doesn't eat your normal summon, that you can also transmod just like a Lilybell. 2 Spiral Shattering Arrows. You need it for spirals because every time they activate Sleeper, they will always target itself. So just keep it in hand. Even like if you go second, always keep it in hand, even at the end phase, because they're just gonna end phase whatever you have and target itself, and then you just play Spiral Shattering Arrow from hand, and you literally just kill their whole board, just like that. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people target itself. Too many people target itself. And with Spiral Shattering Arrow running around, I mean, you know, it's just ways to just steal cheap wins. We got an Artifact Engine. We got, this is just in case we're going first, so we just decide to side for going first. You know, these bait out Ashes too. But then again, you don't need to worry about that because generally if they have Ash, they're going to use it throughout your main combo when you go first, and then you're just going to set these cards, keep this in hand of course because even the matches card, and then flip this over, summon Scythe, lock them out, and then just go with your next turn and just proceed to win the game. You know, it's alright. It's alright. 2 tech cards. We got Tierra, Source of Destruction. You can actually main deck this card because your opponent can't respond to it or negate the summon, like period. Once you summon this, you activate the effect and all cards in both players' hands, field, and graveyard get shuffled in. So if you go first, it's just a way to just empty your opponent's hand like Droll and Lockbird. If you're going second and you drop, it's a way to break your opponent's board and still empty your opponent's hand and grave and all the resources. You shovel everything back in, and it's a 34 beat stick. It's very, very easy to get 10 monsters. It's stupid easy. Because literally all the world chalices, you got like 5 of those. You got Link Spider, you got Proxy Dragon, and then you got Venus plus Shine Ball plus any hand trap, which is like your Herald, your Kaiju, your Guard Dragon, your Lee, your Legacy, your Beckon or Chosen, or whatever. It's just, it's way too easy to just stack. Especially if your deck is actually playing multiple hand traps, it's even easier for you. And the last 3 cards in the side deck is 3 Ash Blossom. A lot of people actually give me quite a bit of flack for not having this in the main deck. And as I've said before, I'd rather just not draw into this a turn late. But I'd rather just break the opponent's board than to stop plays from happening. But, you know, I side these in for when I'm going against Trickstars because although there's a ton of 3-0s in this deck, you know, you don't want any of your Shine Balls to get banished off of Reincarnation for one. And, funny story, I've actually won more matches during these having these in the side deck than I would having them in the main deck, because game 1 and game 2, if you drop this, your opponent already knows you have it. But if your opponent does not see this game 1 or 2, they're going to assume you can't afford it or just don't have it in your deck. And then you side it in game 3, and your opponent is super comfortable because you're not playing any hand traps, except for the Heralds. And then so they assume you don't have your Ash Blossoms, and then they play really comfortably and they start with their best card, and you ash their best card and they lose the game because they didn't see it game 1 or 2. You know, siding these really gives the element of surprise, if you will. It gives you a great surprise attack, and it puts in so much more work game 3 because your opponent doesn't think you have them. And it's when your opponent doesn't think you have Ash Blossom, it is the most opportune time to actually drop it. And so that's why I choose to side it in rather than have it in the main deck. I'd rather just play evenly matched anyway, because I'd rather just get rid of all your cards. So that's the deck profile. So after the Fairy Structure deck, and after I'm just gonna say after Extreme Force comes out, I'll do another deck profile, because that's when, you know, the deck's gonna change up a little bit. We're getting, you know, a few new cards that we can use. You know, Downbeat, EBE, Scoldy. You know, we need Summon Sorceress, we really do, because at that point, Venus, because of the 1-card double Firewall, you know, this deck is really solid. There's another deck I want to do and start talking about, because it's really getting undervalued, and I'm making lots and lots of good plays with it. And a lot of people are starting to divert their attention away from that deck, that specific deck. So I'll get into that on the next video. I'm going to try and make another video within the next 2 days. I hope you guys had a great Christmas and a great holiday. I know I did. I ended up going back to Texas for a few days, and it was awesome. I got to play against some people, and I got to learn some things, and the deck changed. It changed up a little bit, and, you know, we're just going to go from there, and hopefully Summon Sorceress will, or Mannequin Cat, because the deck still needs that card. One of those, hopefully one of those two cards are on the horizon somewhere. Summon Sorceress still isn't confirmed for us in the TCG yet, so that's a bummer. But, you know, we're going to stick strong with this, guys. Thank you guys for being patient with me and everything. You know, it means a lot. I am going to actually start doing the, I'm going to start collaborating with another YouTube channel. I think the channel's name is like Team Bortle or something. You know, it's ran by a guy named Kevin Bortle. You know, he's a good guy. He used to be a vendor. You know, he knows his stuff, you know. And he has a small channel just like mine. Hopefully we can collaborate and team up and, you know, make some good quality stuff and grow each other's channels. You know, considering his last name is Bortle, I'm surprised he has his actual channel name isn't just. I'm surprised he didn't just call it Borderload, because that would actually be really catchy. Because, you know, who wouldn't subscribe to a Yu-Gi-Oh channel whose name is Borderload with a Borderload picture? So, you know, that's pretty awesome. And he's actually doing a giveaway, I think, of a Borderload dragon. Funny enough, and so, you know, I'm gonna see what's up with his channel and all that good stuff. But in the meantime, thank you guys for being patient with me. I'm going to start cranking out more videos. I'm going to have a little bit more time to do these things. I finally got my camera stand, as you guys can probably obviously see. So now I'll be able to go to my locals and start doing some live duels versus actual opponents, because, you know, we got some Spiral players over there. We got Trickstar players and all that. And I feel like it's going to be a good year in 2018. So thank you guys very much for watching. This is J Money, and I'm signing.